Welcome to the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, where we dive into the captivating world of books. Here at the Book Buzz Show, we encourage you to make your pages turn with joy and immerse yourself in a magical literary experience. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, where we dive into the captivating world of books. Here at the Book Buzz Show, we encourage you to make your pages turn with joy and immerse yourself in a magical literary experience. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to the Book Buzz Show. I'm your host, Cheryl Brooks. And if you are new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. If you enjoy the upcoming show, please like, follow, subscribe, and share the broadcast so those others can also enjoy it. For those of you who are new here at the Book Buzz Show, we do discuss the book and the characters with some minor spoilers, but we don't discuss anything that would ruin your reading enjoyment. Also, in addition to being a live broadcast, the Book Buzz Show is also a podcast, and you can follow us wherever you get your podcasts under the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl. All right, and also to let you know that this episode is being brought in partnership with Black Odyssey Media, and here is their logo on the screen for those watching. For those listening, again, that's Black Odyssey Media, and you can reach them at blackodyssey.net and check out their roster of authors. Here are a few of them on the screen, the book covers, and if you go back through our previous broadcast, you can check out some of our interviews that we did with them. All right. And we have a great show in store for you tonight. Tonight we have Keith Kareem Williams on, and we'll be talking about his book, Cursed Immortals. And there is the book cover on the screen for those who are watching. Again, that's Cursed Immortals. And let me just tell you a little bit about tonight's guest. Keith still resides in his hometown of Brooklyn, New York, where he delicately balances his time between his responsibilities as a single father, as well as the challenges of being a full-time author. He never writes with any particular genre or style in mind. He enjoys blending styles and mashing different genres together in interesting ways. However, if he had to describe his writing style, he would use musical terms and say that he writes urban hip-hop fiction with rhythm of reggae that crashed into heavy metal and then began to bleed neo soul. Love that. Kareem says he writes alternative urban fiction. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to bring on tonight's guest, Keith Kareem Williams, and my co-host for this evening, Katina Brown. Just bring them to the stage. All right, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. I've been wanting to get you on the show for a while now. All right, so it looks like we have a few people in the audience as well. We have Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for joining us. We have Myra. Hi, Myra. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Ola. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Purple Jam Girl, Islin. Thank you for joining us. Erica, thank you for joining. Antoinette, thank you for joining. And over on Instagram, unfortunately, Instagram comments don't show up in the group chat. So I'll try to do double duty. But we have Shay Books, Shavana over on Instagram, and she's just saying that you have an interesting book cover.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to get right into it. For those who are new to you, and this is my first time speaking to you too, so can you give us a little background? Tell us how you got started on your professional writing journey.
Sure. Yeah, way back in well, the journey started probably when I was a kid. My mom taught me how to read when I was 3, and then as soon as I learned how to read, I started ripping through books. I was an avid reader first, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the material I was reading, I didn't see myself in those books. So I started writing my own little stories, making my own comic books,
Okay.
and that's pretty much where I got my style from. Where I imagine things happening in my world around me. So that's pretty much where I started. But when I started to take it seriously
Mm-hmm.
was in college. I took a fiction workshop. And
Okay.
to make a long story short, one of the professors, he read my work and he said, "This is what you should be doing." Like he said I was one of his most talented students.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
he compared me to some, contemporaries who I won't name. He's like, they'd be jealous if they read this. I was like, oh, for real?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so that that put me in the mind for. So, I worked on my first book, released it. It did well. And then my second novel I didn't release until 2010. At that point, I was gainfully employed, but I felt like it was time to really like give it my all to see how far I could take it. So I gave my job 2 weeks notice, quit, bought books, never looked back.
Wow.
Love
Yeah.
that. Love that. Now, what was the name of your first published book?
My first book was Water Flows Under Doors. And the second one where I quit, where I just jumped out the window, that was Open Spaces. Which
Okay.
is which is ironic that the name of the book was Open Spaces. But yeah,
So that was your
yeah,
second one, and then
that
Water
was my second one.
flows
Yeah,
under
Water Flows,
doors.
that was the first.
Okay.
Matter of fact, it's this year is I couldn't believe it. Like I didn't even realize it was the 20th anniversary of that book.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
Yeah, I guess
Congratulations.
that explains the grays in my beard.
I love that. Love it. Love
I
it.
love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Are you doing anything special to celebrate the 20 year?
Yeah, what I did was I redesigned the cover. I went back in a couple little things that I wanted to tweak a little bit now that I'm more
Mm-hmm.
seasoned, and then I released a hardcover edition.
Okay.
So I did that a couple months ago. Yeah, so that was
I
good.
love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Now, do you normally, when you're writing, do you come up with the characters first or the plot first?
Usually it's a combination of both, but the plot because a lot my stuff is really character driven. So the characters will come to me first, and right behind it is whatever circumstances they're in, and then I'll
Okay.
start building from there. Yeah.
How did you come up with the concept for the book we're discussing tonight?
Ooh, that is like I love. First of all, you see the smile on my face. I love talking about this book because well, a little background. Before I decided to be a full-time author, I wanted to. I was supposed to be an engineer. I
Oh,
was
okay.
doing college algebra when I was 14. I built a jet engine in junior high school for my science project. But even though I was good at math and science and engine, it still didn't feel like it was enough for my
Mm,
imagination. Because you still have to follow certain rules, and math
right,
is very rigid. And
right.
so I was always a comic book kid. I was that kid in the middle of Brooklyn, in the hood, on the stoop, reading X-Men comics, right?
Okay, okay.
So when I got it, after this is a story that I wanted to write because I was always a fan of the fantasy novels, the Lord of the Rings, the Dungeons and Dragons, all
Hmm.
that type of fantasy stuff. But again, I didn't see myself in those books.
Right, right.
So I asked myself, what would it be like if I told a modern fantasy story that takes place in an environment, which is an urban environment that I'm familiar with? And I
Hmm.
could have characters that look like me, that I can relate to, and other people can relate to. And so I just went crazy with the story. And I started with this one little concept, and it took over my mind. So I have like this whole world. There's like a lot of books coming right behind this. So yeah.
Glad to hear it, because I told you I was looking for this the next installment. I
More.
thought you're right. Like what's going
Right.
on? Okay.
What's
So
going
I'm
on
glad,
next? Right.
yes, I'm glad to hear it's coming soon. Now I did notice when I was checking out your catalog that you write in multiple genres. Although
Yeah.
through your bio, I see that you don't really necessarily
Right.
have certain, you didn't with the specific genres, but
Right.
what's the difference in your writing style as far as, and what's the difference in writing fantasy as opposed to like romance?
Well, to write the fantasy, I'll have romantic elements in it and put romance in, but fantasy is where I want to really make you think and make you really escape the world. I want it to not be grounded. I want you to, in the fantasy novels that I write, I want you to exist in that world with those characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I even though I make them relatable because my characters are still very human in a way. The romance is different. The romance, I want to pull
Yeah,
at
I
your
agree with that.
heartstrings. I
Right.
want you to really see yourself in the characters, and if every in across all my genres, I want you to experience what they experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when romance is tricky, romance is trickier sometimes than the fantasy stuff.
Well, that's what I was
And
going to ask you, because this one particular, would you consider this to be fantasy romance? Because I didn't really feel I wanted the
no,
romance, but I didn't really.
yeah,
It wasn't
I,
clear.
I sprinkled a little bit in like
Right.
potential and things like that, but no, it wouldn't be fantasy romance because I think like if it was fantasy romance, the romance would have been the main story, and
Yeah.
then everything else around it. This is more like a thriller,
Mm-hmm.
but I still feel that with good or great storytelling, you have a lot of different elements in it.
Right.
So the main is the adventure of it. That's the main thing with this novel. But I'm gonna sprinkle in some sexiness and some razzle dazzle and some, you know what I mean?
You gave us a little taste, because I'm hoping
Yeah.
that with, how do you pronounce her name, Araya? I'm hoping
Uh-huh.
that maybe with Araya in 7, because
Yes.
he
Oh, I'm
deserves
glad you
he
caught that.
deserves some
I'm
love.
glad.
He deserves some love.
Right. He having a rough go at it, right?
Very
Yes.
rough. But no, he still got old girl at the house though.
The one that's pining for him, but
Yeah.
he didn't really
Okay.
notice her though
Didn't
until
even know.
he didn't notice her.
Sorry.
So
Yeah,
My bad.
not in that
that's
way anyway.
that's a dynamic that because I love that type of real life type of conflict.
Mhm.
So that's a dynamic that will play out in the other books as well.
Okay,
You're gonna see.
Wonderful.
You're
I
gonna see.
can't wait. Now, when you're deep in writing mode, what does a typical day look like for you?
Typically I write either really early in the morning or really late at night. I like when it's something about it's not necessarily like the people, like not like my kids or anything, but the world is just quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm here in the city, sometimes you got cars driving by, blasting music, sirens.
Right.
I like those hours when it feels like I'm the only one awake.
Mm-hmm.
It's quiet, my head is clearer, and it's something about letting my subconscious do a lot of the work. Like early in the morning, like the best times for me to write is when I get really sleepy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which sucks because it kind of messes with my sleep schedule because I should be in bed.
Right.
But I'm like, one more paragraph. Wait, I have to get this down before I knock out. And early in the morning, right when I just wake up.
Okay.
So I keep notebooks in hand. For some reason, because sometimes, as I work, I tell people sometimes it doesn't even feel like it's me. Like I'm not making up anything. It feels like I'm just retelling something. So which is, yeah.
Nice.
All right. And it looks like we have a few more people joining us on Instagram. We have the book readers venue, and Angela Anderson Presents is also viewing on Instagram. Welcome,
Thanks for
welcome
joining
everybody.
us.
Yes. All right, now we know that writing can be hard on the body, and it's also can be an isolating profession. So, what do you do as far as self care?
Mm, not much.
Because
Mostly work.
I usually ask the women authors this, but I was curious to
Right.
find out what how do you as a man.
Okay.
Um,
You know what? I'll sometimes I'll hang out. You know, I like a nice lounge. I'm not as young as I used to be, so
mhm.
I'm not for all the rah-rah. A nice lounge where you could actually have conversations and things like that. I'll do that to unwind. Um, every time I finish a book,
Mhm.
I make sure I have a cigar
Okay.
and I started to mix up the liquors. It used to be cognac, now it's whiskey. I'll pick something that I haven't tasted before and just
Okay.
celebrate in that way with a nice cigar. I love a nice cigar.
Love
Um,
it. Love it.
what
Love it.
else? What else? And otherwise from that, I'm a super duper Knicks fan, so I watch basketball. Not so much football, but basketball, yeah. But
Okay.
yeah, that's pretty much my routine. I'm always I'm always working. Like I'm always either creating or helping someone else.
Mm,
So, but I enjoy it, so it doesn't feel like work.
okay. And
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah,
important. I love that.
yeah.
Now, what advice would you give to someone just starting out in their writing journey?
Um, read authors outside of your favorite genre.
Oh, really? That's
Um,
different than what
yeah,
okay.
yeah, and all because you want to get different perspectives and hear different voices, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that you stand out. Each one of us, all of us are individuals. Just like we look different, we think differently. You should write somewhat differently, right?
Okay.
So as long as you're being like, I think sometimes it's a mistake to have a favorite author and to try to emulate that. Like, let's say you were a Toni Morrison fan, but there's already a
Mhm.
Toni Morrison.
Right.
There's not another you,
Right.
right? So, like for
Mhm.
me, when I'm creating, like if I'm writing a fantasy novel, I don't read other fantasy while I'm doing that.
Oh, you
I'll
don't?
read
Okay.
urban, romance, erotica, something different. Because on a subconscious level, I don't want to be influenced.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So that's why I tell them to read different genres. It's just like a musician. If you only listen to your genre, there's a high probability that you won't be innovative in your field.
Hmm.
Right. But if you have different influences, you might hear something in classical music that you bring over to your genre, and now you create something totally different. And that
Right.
becomes you. So that's why I advise that to make sure that their I guess I would call it their literary diet is diverse.
I love that. And I love hearing the different perspectives from different authors. Everybody has their own
Right.
take
Mm-hmm.
on. Yeah. So I love hearing all the different perspectives. But I love that. Also, for those who haven't read the book, can you give like a brief overview of what it is about?
Okay. Um Cursed Immortals, the Tower of Seven is mainly about a character called Seven
Mm-hmm.
because he had to kill seven immortals to become immortal himself. So basically it's almost like this saga that he's on is a everyman story in a way because he started off as a mortal. But
Mm-hmm.
in the course of the book, you find out why he had smoke with these immortals. And right? So it's basically him trying to navigate this world. And he kind of represents, that feeling of things are out of your control or even people more powerful than you have an influence over your life.
Right.
And it's his struggle against that while being a dad, which I worked into the story too. So
Mm-hmm. And
pretty
I
much
love
that's what
that.
it's a
Love
thank you.
that.
So pretty much he has these immortal beings. It's like a big chess match
Mm.
between them, and he's kind of caught in the middle of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Did I do a
Love
good
it.
job with
Love it.
that?
That
Because
Yes,
was
I
you
feel
pretty
did. Yes, you
since
accurate.
did. Yes,
all
you
right,
did.
all
That was accurate.
right.
Spot
Uh,
on.
yes. Oh, okay, so this would be a good. I think this would be a good point to do the little snippet that you're going to read from the
Okay,
book,
all right. This is
and I'm gonna
and
bring you
speaking of
forward.
speaking of like his conflict, this kind of gives you an idea of his relationship with the immortals, so-called
Okay.
immortals. All right. Okay. Deep in thought, Seven sat alone in his penthouse suite on his black office chair, which closely resembled a dark throne. If anyone outside could have seen him through the tinted glass, he would have appeared more like a tired business executive than a powerful supernatural being. His tie hung loosely around his neck, and the sleeves of his button-up shirt were rolled up, exposing the runes tattooed on his dark forearms. In his right hand, he held a glass of clear rum. In the other, an expensive cigar burned slowly. At his feet were seven skulls, all that was left of the seven divine beings whose lives he had extinguished. From the top floor of his dark tower, he stared out at the man-made landscape of the brightly lit, filthy city below. Just above his head floated an invisible crown that he would have gladly traded for a halo, because on most nights he wished that he was dead. The labors and tasks that lay before him made the long sleep that he often longed for feel like a much easier path. He was tired, but his journey was far from over. He had responsibilities that he was bound to and debts to settle before he could finally rest. As Seven peered out at the electric glow of the lights in the windows of the maze of skyscrapers that jutted up to dizzying heights, gray storm clouds formed in the night sky above the city until eventually, with violent flashes of lightning and deafening booms of thunder, they burst. Seven stood up and walked across the polished floor over to the window, certain that he sensed something unnatural about the rain. Then, right before his eyes, some of the droplets began to come together and take shape. The rain took on the form of a beautiful, curvy, naked woman. Suddenly, the woman made of water swam gracefully through the air, through the downpour, and stopped right in front of Seven's window. As she got close enough to press her watery lips to the thick pane of glass, Seven frowned as she did just that. I hate when you wear her face, Seven mumbled, disgusted and annoyed. I thought you would like it, the woman made of water said in a voice that sounded like it originated in the ocean's deepest depths. It was melodic but garbled, like a bad phone connection. Even though she was on the other side of very thick glass, he heard her voice clearly in his mind, more than in his ears. I already told you many times that I don't, he reminded her. I am truly sorry, my dark-skinned king. She apologized and bowed as a sarcastic gesture of feigned reverence. She still did not change her face. You're not sorry. You're just like the rest of them. It amuses you to torment and cause pain, said Seven. I did not mean to offend, she said. Of course you did. You're all spiritual sadists, he scolded her and twisted his lips into a scowl. Since the beginning of all there is, you have all enjoyed the game, the breaking of souls. I'm sorry, lover, she smiled and apologized again. I'm not your lover, he grunted. No, but you could have been. I offered you a life with me, a life where you could have forgotten this woman that you're obsessed with, a woman who chose to abandon you and your child, she reminded him, and rubbed salt in wounds that would never heal. I like the sun and the fresh air. There's nothing appealing to me about the bottom of any sea, he said. You lie, she said, as her watery face suddenly became grim and serious. We both know that you love the darkness, she insisted. Why are you here, he asked, anxious to be rid of her so that he could get back to enjoying his rum and his cigar in solitude. I sense that something is wrong. I saw in a dream that you were in danger. Something powerful was coming for you, she told him. It already came for me, this danger that you speak of, and I defeated it, he told her vaguely. And what was it? Who or what did they send after you, she asked, with genuine concern in her voice. It doesn't matter. I'm standing here having a boring conversation with you, which means I won. Otherwise, you'd have found my corpse, he answered. She smiled in an easy smile and bowed to him again. Keep your secrets, bastard king, my savage reaper. Just remember who you serve and why you are alive, she told him. I'm not alive. Not really, he said. I'm just not quite dead. Sleep well, if you can. I have a feeling that your night is far from over, she warned him before her body suddenly dissipated and once again became part of the falling rain. Seven gulped down the rum that was left in his glass as soon as she was gone. Her last words lingered in the air like a curse, and he wondered what kind of devilry was on its way to torment him. All right. How was that?
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that
All right.
thing. And
Thank
you're right.
you.
It
Thank you.
sums it up about how he
Really
feels. And the way that I have mixed emotions with the Sea Goddess because
Yeah.
I can't really figure her out yet.
She's
As far as
a little insecure at the same time.
yeah,
You know.
and Lisa Welcome, she's saying that she loved your narration.
Thank you.
But yes,
It's time for me to do some audiobooks. People keep telling me that I should
You
narrate
should.
my own audiobooks.
yes,
All right.
you definitely should, and that's gonna open up
Good.
another audience too, because it's some that don't. That's all they do is listen
Right.
to books.
Mhm.
But I also felt in that scene like it would be a different take if Seven was a woman and it would have been a male who came and was touching her
Yeah.
inappropriately
Yeah.
without her permission.
Yeah.
But because it's a man, that
I'm glad you caught that. I'm
Mhm.
glad you caught that because the bathroom scene, because that was one of my favorite scenes. So right, like right,
yes.
and I'm glad you caught it because I wanted people to think about it. Like if it was reversed,
right,
and he's not winning, like he's like,
right.
yo,
And that's
this
what I was
guy's
saying
my
too.
own.
He was not a willing participant.
No.
Now his body automatically
Right.
responded, but he did not want that.
No.
She
Right.
did not have permission.
Right.
Mhm.
And it was a thing. Is a thing like with her. It's always her way to show him that you're not free.
Right.
Like I leave you alone, right? I may not have chains and shackles on you, but you're not free because I could do this. And what are you gonna do about it?
Right.
So it's one of those invasive kind of things.
Right. I felt so bad for him. On Instagram, Shavana is saying that was great. Yes, definitely audiobooks. And then the book readers venue also is saying you should definitely narrate your books.
Okay.
And Erica on here is giving you a hand clap.
All right.
But that was a beautiful scene, and it sums up because in the beginning when we're introduced, Callie is coming up the stairs, and we is with me as a reader, I was thinking that I was feeling for her, not so much him.
Right.
But as I read on, I started feeling for him.
I love doing that. You'll find that in a lot of my books. Like I've started off books and you'll think this is the main character. And then a few pages in, you find out, wait a minute, no, that's not the main character. This is the main character. So every character that I ever put in a story is there deliberately for a purpose.
Okay.
I want you to feel, excited for them. I want you to be afraid for them. I want you to feel some type of ways if they die. And I want you to be on the edge of your seat till you read the last page. I don't put twists for the sake of twists.
Okay.
Like I don't like cheap tricks. Like I don't do things for just shock value. I want to take you on a genuine experience in my books. I don't just, that's why sometimes it breaks my heart when characters hate when certain characters, when readers hate when certain characters die. And I promise you, I didn't do it just to hurt you. It was a part of the story. And I don't do that. So
that's good to know. Now,
I accept your apology. Didn't want to hurt me.
Right.
Didn't want to do it.
Now, let's get a little bit into the characters. Okay, so we have Seven, who's an immortal. Now, with him, he had to kill 7 immortals to become who he is.
Yes.
But isn't it also that he has 7 lives? Is that what it is as well? 7 lives?
She granted him 7. Right.
Okay.
So, and then with his guards, you notice that there's 7 of them as well.
Right.
Was there? Spoiler alert, there were 7, but
right. Okay, and we're gonna have to talk about
yeah, there were 7, but pretty much without ruining another book that I'm working on, each one of his guards has a specific story as to why they chose to. He saved them from something. And
right,
it was
kind of got that sense,
Right. So each one of them, there's a backstory as to why he has their allegiance and why they joined him. So yeah, and I can't wait to tell y'all the backstories. I
can't wait either. Now, we're gonna get back to the guards. Okay, so as far as still, he was mortal, like you said in the beginning. So, and we do get to still see some of his humanity, like with his daughter.
Yes.
So I love the scenes like their bonding time in the mornings when he's fixing her breakfast, and that's the time when they discuss things.
Right.
And I love that. And I loved her character. She's not. You didn't write her flat at all, so I love that because sometimes with kids,
sometimes kids in books are like props,
right,
and they don't have personality, and it's
yeah.
Thank you. See, I love talking about this book.
Yeah, she was very intelligent.
Yes,
she's a smart,
definitely.
Yeah,
she was keeping him on his toes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get back to Callie, because like I was telling you off camera, when I was looking through your catalog, I saw that you had previously introduced her. So, and I have to go back and read that so I can get her backstory. I'm trying to figure out. So let me help me with this. Okay, so in the beginning, I understand that why he imprisoned her basically. He was in case he needed her for leverage.
Right.
Okay. Then he decided that he was not going to keep her like bounded as far as like in a straitjacket. And he told her, I can't let you go right now, but he was kind of giving her the sense, okay, I am going to let you go. I just can't do it right now. Now with Maggie, while he's gone, with Maggie putting her back in a straitjacket, she in her mind, she's thinking he went back on his word. So was that intentional to bring friction between those two?
Yep, because it's all trouble. It's all trouble from here moving forward. And I love that dynamic because a lot of times in real life, whether it be conflict between people, conflicts between nations, it's a misunderstanding. Someone could hear something and a perspective might be different. And because you never had the conversation, it leads to smoke.
Yes.
Right.
But I was like, oh no, don't do that. I'm like, why would she put her back taking it upon herself to do that? And I love how she increased her strength, how she got stronger. And she basically found out that she can use her voice by accident.
Because unlike, like I'm sure you saw that in the story, some of them who served the character called Helga, some are older than others. Some are more ancient. Some have lived longer. And if you wanted to say like the baby of the group, that would be Callie, because she just came upon who she is.
Okay.
She has a kind of tragic backstory where she was, she died, came back, and then they basically recruited her. So she's just learning about what she can do and who she is.
And so Helga, I really want her to get what's coming to her. And I actually felt for the ones that are following her because they think in a certain way. That's not true. So when they came to 7, when a few of them came to 7 to try to, become allied with him, of course he was suspicious. Like, can I really trust this? And so I actually felt bad for the one that came looking for Callie. What was his name? I can't think.
War.
Yes, War.
Yusuf. Yeah.
Yes. And
because he's not a bad person.
Right. Although, and I'm getting to this too. One of my favorite scenes, because we always give one of our favorite scenes, was the scene when he attacked the car with the little girl in it. I stopped liking him then.
Yeah, I was mad. Mad at him.
Yeah.
Like, because he could have, he did hurt her.
Yeah.
And I remember Maggie, was it Maggie that asked 7? She said, whoever hurt her, make sure they pay.
Yeah.
And he said, I will. So
you will.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh man. So I was feeling for Yusuf at first until he did that with no consideration for this little girl being in the car. So that totally changed.
And throughout the story, you see, like, even when 7 went to the building and he was attacked, there's decisions and things that aren't as simple as right from wrong, and you know what I mean, and you trying to do the right thing, and in doing the right thing you end up doing monstrous things, and you come close to becoming what you hate. And so
I can see that. In that world, I can see it's not black and white. It's like so much going on. But that scene, you did a great job as far as choreographing that scene with him.
Thank you.
With him, he hit the ground, I believe.
He had to go open that bit. Yeah. Thank you. Because it's tricky. It's tricky. Writing scenes like that. Being descriptive enough so that you get the visual of what's happening in your mind.
Yes.
It's tricky to translate it on paper. So I'm glad that you got it.
Yeah, because I read a lot of like mafia and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of action in those as well.
Right.
And some do it better than others. And I know it's a tricky like dance.
It's a tricky dance. It is.
Yes.
That I would say writing action scenes, compelling action scenes, and writing interesting sex scenes is difficult.
I can see that. Yes, because even reading it, you could tell. Sometimes it's like it's not landing right. But so I get that with those things as well. Katina, what things stood out for you in the book?
There were so many. I mean,
I know it was a lot.
Of course, Murdoch and Nova.
Okay, we got to talk about that because I already gave you a hint off the.
You already gave me a heads up.
We got to talk about that. Okay, so spoiler alert, like you said. What was the point of even though if that was going to happen to them? I don't understand. Are we going to find out something in the next book, or is that just a done deal?
The catch is what I wanted to show is don't waste time, right? You got feelings for somebody, don't play with it. People a lot of times take each other in these situations for granted.
Right.
Life is short, it goes by fast.
Right.
Don't waste time. You know what I mean? And fear. A lot of somebody taught me this in a previous relationship, and she said this. She said a lot of the things that people do that are negative are driven by two things: fear and lack. And when I really sat down and I thought about it, if you trace back the roots to a lot of mistakes you may make in life, chances that you may not take, or it comes from fear and also lack. So I'm sorry, and then there was Mikkel, and he was like, "Hey, like, what's good with your boy?"
That really broke my heart.
What's good with your boy?
He didn't even want to be here. I'm like,
right? Right.
They dragged him along, and he didn't want to be there. And then
He
they had
didn't want to be there.
and he was a healer, so he
I
was
felt
helping
bad
people.
for him too. I felt bad for him too because this is a typical story of somebody who just gets swept up into something. He's like, I don't even want to be here.
Right. But I see what you're saying because Murdoch, he was having feelings for Nova and never told her how he felt. She didn't have a clue. She didn't have a clue because even how you pronounce his name, Mikhail, even he told her, he's
and she was like, really? Right. Because when you get to her, when you learn her backstory, there's a reason why she's so closed off. Like that's the furthest thing from her mind, like a boyfriend or anything like that.
Oh man, you just broke my heart though with
I'm sorry.
Nova and Murdoch, I could, but with Nova and then Mikhail especially, I was like, oh no, and and then the way you wrote it, and he when it was happening, he's looking at who was it? He's looking at her for help. Rosalia.
Yeah, it comes at you fast.
Yes, I'm like, oh no. But great scene among many. Another one that stood out. I love how you described when Seven and the rest of them when they went north. It's like I could feel the cold and all of that. I love it.
Thank you.
That was good. And the scene with King Klaus and his alter ego, and the struggle between the two of them. The alter ego being this demonic, crazy being. But in order for him to win against the beast in the woods,
he had to
he had to unleash him.
And you see how bad that went. You see how bad that turned out.
Real left, real fast. You know what? Another thing I liked was the conversation between Vane and Seven about equality and women's equality.
Right.
I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because that's also with and that's another theme also with Helga, right? Because she's powerful and she's the ruler of that faction. Then you have Vane, and then you also have the Sea Goddess.
Yes.
So it was, and I wrote it during a time where I saw, it's not just like it just started yesterday, but just basically women's empowerment, right? And I saw how people pushed back against it so hard, like, no, right? So those characters were inspired by everything that I saw going on in the real world as well.
Yes, because you definitely have some powerful women in the story.
Right.
Not all of them are good women, but they are definitely powerful.
Right. Because what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to pander, right? Where I'm just it's what I'm just trying to say to people is, look, the same way you have great men that are leaders and you have men that are villains.
Right.
It's the same way it would be with women. If you would have women in charge of nations that were good at it and some that weren't, because it's just humanity. It's just people.
Right. So, I agree with you on that. Myra is saying, interesting. I'm going to have to read this. Myra, believe me, you're going to love it. It's very nuanced, and I love books like that. So it's not just one thing. You're going to get a lot out of it. Same thing. Ola is saying sounds like a very interesting book. It is, Ola, and you all wouldn't steer you wrong. You should pick it up. It's very, very
thank you.
Yes.
And I just want to say thank you guys so much for discussing this one, because I would say, in terms of my other books, this one is further to an extreme from the others, right? And I was really passionate in writing it, and I'm always nervous about how it'll be received, because certain readers know me for a good thriller, a good urban novel, a good romance, and erotica. So when I do fantasy now, I'm not always sure how they'll like it. So to hear that you guys enjoyed it, Thank you.
Yes, yes, and that's one of my favorite genres. I read a lot of fantasy, a lot of paranormal, a lot of supernatural
Thank you. So
type books.
that means so much to me because sometimes, like, all right, one of my readers, a lot of my readers will just read it because my name is on it. So
Mhm.
hearing from them that they loved it and they get caught up in it, okay, I know I did my job in one way in terms of introducing them to a genre they're not familiar with and being able to hold their interest and get them excited. But
Right.
I also want to hear from readers like you who actually love the genre and read a lot of it, so
Mhm.
I know where my work stacks up in that
Right.
genre from someone who's familiar with it.
Mhm.
So thank you. I feel even better.
Yes, yes, yes. Because I told you that I was so into it that I'm like looking for the next book already. Like,
I
where's the
know.
book? Where's the next one? Where's the next one? So that tells you I'm very invested in Seven and his continued
Yes.
journey.
Oh, the
Um,
next, let me tell you, I wrote the prologue to the next one. You need a seatbelt. You need a seatbelt.
Okay, okay. Well, the way
It
it
starts
ended, I
off
kind of
like,
I can kind of imagine that.
yeah.
But Ola is saying, how many books do you intend to put in this series? Do you know?
So far, I plan to make it a trilogy.
Okay.
But along with the trilogy, it's just like okay, like I released Slow Kiss of the Apocalypse first, and then I put out Cursed Immortals. So when I put out Cursed Immortals book two, which is titled The Black Throne, I'm gonna also release a companion novel that gives you a different piece of that gives you a deeper backstory.
Right.
So I would say it'll probably be 6 books. And then you know what? When I get to book, this is what I like to do. I know I intend to write a trilogy. If there's more to be told and the readers want more, I'll write another 3 books or 2. But I like to, even though this story isn't done, I
Mm-hmm.
still like to give a reader a sense of closure when they finish one book. So
Mm-hmm.
I resolve some type of conflict, and you don't feel like that empty feeling, you having a good
Yes.
meal and then that
Yes.
last piece don't
Yes.
taste right, and you're like,
Right.
ah, you know what I mean?
We still hungry.
We're
Keith, we
empty.
still hungry.
Right. Okay. All right.
We
So
waiting for the
so
next.
so the next one is the Black Throne, and then the third book is titled. It's I know for now it's titled Heathens, but we'll
Okay.
see. But all of the things that I set up in the first book is gonna come to a climactic ending.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Um, and then you think because with Seven, you figure immortal and he has you think he has everything, but like you read from your excerpt, he's tired. You know, he just wants to live long enough for his daughter to be able to take care of herself,
Yeah.
basically, and
Right.
that's his main objective right now is his daughter.
Yes.
Um, and now with the king and queen of the north,
Mm-hmm.
I had a problem with Klaus too in a way because
Mm-hmm.
okay, so he was afraid of Seven just based off of I guess his reputation. And
Mm-hmm.
he had a vision that he was coming. So he
Mm-hmm.
offers up his wife's sister, the princess. He's not even he's not even blood.
Mm-hmm.
These are not his lands. This is his wife's land and is her sister.
Mm-hmm.
So he's an outsider, but because he's the male,
Right. Thank
he's
you
the
for catching
king.
that.
He's the king, and
Right.
he's making this decision to offer up her sister, the princess, to
Mm-hmm.
Seven, who they already think is a monster. So you're gonna give her to somebody you think is a monster.
Right. Right. And you see how ridiculous sometimes just rules that people just follow blindly. Because just like what you said, this ain't your land, buddy.
Right,
Right? And you making these decisions but because of that tradition, and that's the way it is, that's the way it
right.
is. Right.
And that back in the day, women didn't have any rights. So whenever they got married
Right.
here in the States and abroad, it automatically reverted to
To the husband.
their husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I read a lot of historical too, so that played into that too.
Right.
But I love just the dynamic and the queen. She felt bad for her sister, but she was willing to do anything for her husband, basically.
Yeah, I felt so sorry. I could have.
I didn't like her that much either. I didn't like her that much either. I can admit that.
Yes, and when they interacted, when she went to go tell her sister the decision, you could tell they love each other as sisters, but they weren't the closest.
Yeah, they weren't close.
I don't know if that's just because of the dynamic as far as her being queen,
right,
and her the second daughter. I don't know, but then when you get further in the story, you can tell that they really do love each other because Mariah, she was very hurt by what happened to the queen. In the story, Erica has a question. Let me see. Do you have a favorite book, or what book was the hardest to write for you?
I wouldn't say I have a favorite. Each one is special in a way because so every book that I write to me feels like, you know how you'll turn on the radio and you hear a particular song and it takes you back to that summer or that winter or that relationship or that time in your life.
Right.
That's what these books are to me. They're like markers. Right. So of course the first will always be special.
Right.
The second one is special because that's the one where I quit my job. One that I would say is maybe one of the most personal is I have two that are really personal. Like I have one that I've written, Glass Goddesses, Concrete Walls. That one I blush and I don't even promote it the way I should promote it because it's a really good book.
What is it,
so
erotica?
Personal. Some of it is, but it's more like it's stories from my personal life.
Oh, okay.
Because I was having a discussion with a friend and she was like, you should write this into a book. So I was like, all right. So I did it and I don't even promote the book. And people always find it.
Too personal, yeah.
It's too personal. They're like, you know what I'm reading right now? I'm like, yeah, which one? Yeah, I know that one, right? Yeah. But there's that one, and then there was one where I was in a real complicated space, and that one was Time Doesn't Stop for Broken Clocks. And that one was an experience because I was so into it and so much was going on in my life that I wasn't sure if I was writing the book or if the book was writing my life. That's how crazy it was. And I love that book.
Now,
even though it's fiction.
Is it dark though? Yeah. Is it because the title is saying
No, it's not. It's no, it's just, I guess maybe the message. And to be honest with you, I have a hard time summarizing that book because I just kind of like, as they say, poured my heart out into it, even though it's fiction. So a lot of times the stories and characters may be made up, but the sentiment and what's going on is real stuff from my life. And it was just a thing where the time doesn't stop for broken clocks. It's like, hey, listen, your clock could be broken. It could read 1:15 all day. It's not 1:15. Time is still passing. Right. So it's about being stuck in place and not moving forward and things like that. But I love that book.
I love that. I'm gonna have to check that one out too, as well as the other one. And plus, like I said, I want to read Callie's story because I actually felt for her a lot in the story. And I'm interested to see where you take her.
Yeah, she's been through a lot. Like that first book, Slow Kiss of the Apocalypse, it's a revenge story. And she had every right to get revenge. So not without spoiling it, what happens is as she's I guess getting her payback throughout the course of the book, you'll see like war. You notice I use certain entities in Cursed Immortals like war, pestilence, famine. They're kind of observing her and watching her do these things and figuring out she could be one of us. So yeah. So you're gonna I think if you loved Cursed Immortals, you'll love Slow Kiss of the Apocalypse as well.
Okay, good. Erica is saying, will you be at any book events this year?
Yes. Right now, the next one I have up is in Richmond, Virginia, on May 18th. I'm gonna be there with Kawan, Silk White, Hakeem Stokes, the Urban Fiction Experience. That's the first one.
Okay.
After that, I'm just gonna freestyle it and see where I can get to and who invites me. So I might try to make it to the Atlanta kickback.
All right.
Um,
Well, I know in
so
2025, I already asked you about mine. So,
I'm there. I'm there. I am there. I'm there.
all
I
right.
like because my kids are older now,
Okay.
so when it comes to travel, it's much easier for me. So yeah, I'm keep me posted. I'm there.
All right. I definitely will. Okay. Before we get close to time, but I have to talk to you about Blue. I loved her as well. And I
Me
felt so
too.
bad for
Yeah.
her because they automatically
I know.
thinking of her as some kind of creature when they meet
Yes.
her because of her, but the way
Yeah.
she looks.
Looks.
And
Right.
right. And when she talked about how her and her mother were kicked out of their village because of how she
Hmm.
looked.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And her thinking that her mother slept with a beast.
Right.
um,
Right.
and then her mother trying to protect her from the elements end up dying. And
Hmm.
then the one that the pilot sees her and takes her in and
Yeah.
raises her.
Mhm.
But we
Yeah.
don't find out exactly where he is because she just says he's gone.
Right.
Right.
So is that going to be explored some more Blue?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
story?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna give me some more of that.
Because she was
And I'm
smart though, because she was like, I am not taking you to the door
I'm
because
run away.
yeah.
they are not gonna
She
like
ain't
whoever you got her coming back here in chains.
right. Right.
I am not gonna be the
So,
pilot who taking you there.
like I said, I'm so happy we had this discussion
Yes.
because there's so many subtle things that I put in the story that you always wonder, is anybody gonna catch that I did that? Thank you so much. Because it makes all the hours and I I'm not a fast writer. Like even though I have a lot of books, I
Mm-hmm.
tell people sometimes I may release a book and I've been working on that book for 3 years.
Okay.
It's just that I'm always working on something. So
Right.
there's always a book that like I just thought up, and there's always a book that I'm almost finished with.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
Okay.
thank you, because
Love
I
it. Love
spent
it. Love it.
hours and hours and hours pining over these pages and making sure that all of these subtle things makes the story almost feel real, even though it's fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
where you
Yeah,
can visualize and
you
feel
gave them all
everything.
the right. You gave them all the emotions and things that
Good.
that we all can relate to.
Yes,
So yeah, so great job. And
thank
let's
you.
get into our giveaway. Keith
Yes,
is giving away 2 of his books to 2
yes.
lucky winners. Okay,
Hmm.
so the first giveaway, whoever can tell me the name of his first book. Who remembers the name of the first book? Put it in the comments. Instagram, you can participate as well. Put it in the comments.
Check out Instagram.
Yes, Katina, please help me with that.
I can hear the Jeopardy music playing in my head.
Right. Oh man.
What's that? Purple.
Purple Jam Girl said water flows under the doors. Is that the
Yes,
first
ma'am.
one?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Congratulations, Island. Thank you. Congratulations. So
Awesome.
email me. This is the print copy, right, Keith?
Yes.
Okay, email me your address, your mailing address, Island, and I'll send it over to Keith. Congratulations. And what's you're going to either get, what's the name of the 2 books?
You either get Hurricane Love, which is a romance erotica, or you could get a thriller, The Prerequisite to Perdition.
All right. Okay, so
And you know what?
mhm.
I'm gonna do something else for you and anybody else listening. If they want me to email them a copy of Slow Kiss of the Apocalypse, a digital version, let me know, and I'll
Okay,
give it
I
to
definitely
everybody
want it.
listening.
Yeah, I definitely want it. Okay.
I got you. I got you.
Right. And Island, I'm putting my email address in the chat so you can send it So you can send me your information. Okay, now for the second giveaway, who can tell me? I asked Keith. Well, he actually gave me that. I had this written down as a question, but he actually gave it to me in his answer as far as self-care. How he celebrates when he finishes a book. Can anybody remember how he celebrates or what he does for self-care? They're both intertwined. So if you can give me that answer, you'll be our next giveaway winner. How does he celebrate when he finishes a book, or what does he do for self-care? What is Erica's? Oh, she's telling me
Slow Kiss.
Slow Kiss is a great book. Ola had okay. Did you see which one had it first? Okay, look like we waited. We got 3 people who have it, but I didn't see who put it first.
What's the timestamp on that? That might be the
let's
answer.
see. Ola's was 8:02. Can you see on Instagram what the timestamps were?
No, I don't know how to see that. We got a 3-way tie. I don't know.
Okay, so we got to break. We got to break the tie here.
We have to break the tie.
All right. So, Keith, can you do it? Choose a number between 1 and 50, and then the person who gets the closest to it out of Ola, out of Shavana, and the book readers venue.
Okay, got it. Got the number.
Okay. All right, he asked the number.
If they were paying attention, they should know which number. Well, go ahead, I got the number.
All right, so y'all, the first person, y'all put your number in the chat. One between 1 and 50.
Yeah, that's a lot easier. Okay, she has set.
The book readers venue says, "What's your number, Keith?"
7.
7. Oh. Yeah.
7. Okay, you have it. Okay, book readers venue. You have it. If you could email me your mailing address, I put my email address in the chat. Oh, actually, I need to put it over here too.
Okay. Oh, midnight.
Okay, so I just put it on Instagram as well in the comments. So if you could also email me your mailing address and I'll get it over to Keith. Congratulations to our winners. And again, if you the other ones that we had in there, if we could get the ebook, Keith, can we do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So for the other ones, we'll do an ebook. So I'll get some of you already have your email address, but put your email address and then we'll get that to you as well.
Yes.
All righty. This was I enjoyed it. We can talk because we didn't even touch the surface.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to your event.
Yes.
I'm even more excited to attend. And now this weekend I'm gonna put some more work in on that book. I gotta hurry up with it.
Yeah,
I have a lot of it written.
I'm waiting.
Now I'm gonna speed it up.
And then, like you said, it's gonna be your first time. This will be your first time coming to Detroit too, right?
Yes.
So
I can't wait.
Good. I'm glad to have you on board, and I can't wait to check out the rest of your books. And
thank you.
I can't wait to get the rest of this.
Yes.
Book. And then I'll be reaching out to you once I read it too.
Okay.
Like, okay.
Yes.
But yeah, great job though. Like I said, I read a lot of fantasy, so this was I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I was invested in the characters. So
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Tina, did you have anything else you wanted to say about the book?
No, I'm just sitting and waiting, and impatiently
waiting.
All right.
No pressure.
I love that because it fuels me it inspires me when I know that someone or someone's or the more someone's, the merrier, are waiting for a story, it inspires me to work on it. Because you don't always know, you don't always get reviews, you don't always get emails, people telling you that, oh, I really loved it. So when I hear it now it'll it's one inspire me to tell you even more and to do even more in the next book because I understand that you see you have the appreciation for the book and what I'm doing. So
I
now
definitely
that's
do.
like energy for me now. So
Oh, good.
I'll even move the release date up because I hadn't planned to release that till later on in the year. I'm
Okay.
gonna move it up now because I have a
All
lot of it
right.
plotted out and written. I just have to now because I don't write like in a linear fashion all the time, like beginning, middle, end.
Right.
I know the overall plot and then I get scenes. So I have all the scenes ready to just stitch them together now and make them flow and make sense.
I love it.
So
I love it. And I'm here for it.
yeah.
So, and I'm sure
All
Katina
right.
is too.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I'll be in touch. I'll get the mailing addresses over to
Yes.
you and the email addresses.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you everybody for joining us. I had a great time with you guys.
And we have a few people saying that they're looking forward to reading the book. So, yes.
Thank you.
And congratulations again to our winners. And thank you, everyone, for coming out and being so engaged. And we'll see you next time. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening.
Have a good night.
Good night.